You wake up, and before you even open your eyes, you already feel the weight on your chest. It's not just fatigue, it's something deeper, a silent grip that follows you like a shadow. You get up, get ready, go about your day, but inside, you're at war. And the question that hammers in your mind is always the same. Why am I like this? Maybe you've never put it into words, but you feel it. You feel when your heart races out of nowhere, when your breath gets short in the middle of a conversation, when your mind runs through 1,000 catastrophic scenarios. Even when everything seems fine, you try to hide, to smile, say that everything is okay, but the truth is that there is something screaming inside you. And the worst part? Nobody notices. Anxiety is treacherous because it doesn't bleed. It leaves no visible marks. It eats away at you from the inside, silently. And you've tried everything, haven't you? Meditation, chamomile tea, relaxation playlist, self-help book, motivational quotes on Instagram. But after a few days, there she is again, as if to say, "Did you really think you were going to beat me like that?" And then you start to believe something even more dangerous. Maybe I'll be like this forever. I may never get better. Maybe that's who I am. But what if I told you there's something you still don't understand? What if anxiety isn't just a problem to be solved, but a warning, a sign, a message you've been ignoring for too long? Most people try to silence their anxiety. But what if instead you learn to listen to what she has to say? I know, it sounds weird, but listen to me until the end, because you will never overcome your anxiety until you understand this. And understanding truly starts now. How many times have you felt alone in this process? How many times have you wished someone would look you in the eye and say, "I understand. I know how it is." Well, I'm telling you this now. You are not alone. And what's more, there is a way. It's not easy, it's not quick, but it's real. And it starts with a single question. What exactly is trying to paralyze me inside? If you keep trying to run away from anxiety, it will keep chasing you. But if you have the courage to face it, it can become the beginning of your deepest transformation. From here on, we go together, chapter by chapter, breath by breath, because you deserve to live lightly, even if I forgot about it, even if you've never felt it before. Now that we've started, to open this door, I want you to be with me until the end, because what comes next could be your game changer. Anxiety doesn't choose a time. She arrives in the middle of work, in the middle of a conversation, in the middle of the night. It comes when everything seems fine, and yet your heart races, your mind races, the ground seems to disappear. It's a silent suffocation. Have you ever wondered why this happens just when you should be at peace? You are lying down, the room is dark, the world outside is asleep, but your head is racing, your body is tense, and you feel like at any moment something really bad is going to happen. But what? You don't know. It's just this constant feeling that something is wrong, that you are not safe, that you can't even trust yourself. And then comes the shame. You start to blame yourself. Why am I so weak? Everyone seems so calm. Why is it that I'm the only one who lives like this? Am I going crazy? No, you're not going crazy. You are living with a nervous system in a state of permanent alert, like an alarm that never goes off. And the cruelest thing? No one notices. People look at you and see someone functional, someone who can handle things, someone strong, but inside, you're imploding. There are days when just getting out of bed is a battle and nobody understands. You try to explain, but the answers come shallow. It's just anxiety. Do an exercise. You think too much, and you close yourself off, because it hurts to be misunderstood. It hurts to feel invisible even when surrounded by people. Anxiety over time begins to steal little parts of your life. You stop going out, avoid calls, runs away from commitments, say no to opportunities that deep down you really wanted to experience but can't, because you're afraid of crashing, of getting sick, of losing control. And this prison is invisible. Nobody locks you up, but you are trapped. No one limits you, but you are paralyzed. No one silences you, but you scream inside. Every day, the universal pain of anxiety is this. You feel like you are fighting a war alone, and still blames himself for fighting. But let me tell you something important now. You are not weak. You are someone who survives. even with your heart in pieces. You are someone who gets up even when your mind is in a storm. You are someone who, even without knowing how, continues. And that is strength. But this force needs to be redirected. You don't have to fight yourself anymore. You need to start fighting by yourself and understand that this pain you feel is not just yours. Millions of people live this in silence, but nobody talks, nobody shares, because everyone is afraid of looking broken. But you're not broken. You are waking up. Anxiety is not the end. It's the beginning of something that needs to be heard. The pain you feel today is your soul's call for healing. And all healing begins with courage. The courage to admit, I'm not okay. The courage to ask for help. The courage to continue even when afraid. You are not alone in this. And just being here, reading this far, already shows that you want to get out of this place. Let's go together. Because in the next step, you will understand why this all has a profound and liberating explanation. Jordan Peterson often says something that at first glance seems harsh. Anxiety is the price you pay for being disconnected from the truth. When I first heard this, my reaction was one of resistance. What do you mean? So it's my fault? But after listening more deeply, I realized Peterson isn't blaming you. He is pointing away. Anxiety, that discomfort, that fear, that inner chaos, doesn't come from nowhere. She has a reason. And according to Peterson, this reason is directly linked to the disorganization of his psyche, due to lack of structure, to the absence of meaning. He explains that every human being needs order, needs direction. You need to know the why of being here. Without it, life becomes a chaotic battlefield where everything seems uncertain, and uncertainty breeds fear. Fear turns into anxiety, and anxiety becomes a constant state. Peterson says that anxiety is a dragon that grows every time you avoid looking at your inner mess. Every little lie you tell yourself, every decision you make just to please others, every truth you hide because you're afraid to face it, it accumulates. It takes you away from the center. It weakens you, and when you realize it, you are drowning in a sea of thoughts that you can no longer control. Anxiety in this context is your soul's cry saying, hey, something's wrong here. And Peterson goes further. He states that anxiety is often the beginning of awakening, because only when everything inside you starts to fall apart, it's just that you find yourself forced to rebuild. But you can't rebuild on a lie. You need to start with the truth. And this truth sometimes hurts. Sometimes it shows that you're in a job you hate, in a relationship that makes you sick, living a routine that has nothing to do with who you really are. And then comes the hardest part, owning up to it. Peterson teaches that owning the truth is the beginning of healing, but it is not enough to assume it intellectually. You need to live it, face it, say, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I need to change, and that takes courage. Courage to break away from what is destroying you, courage to enter chaos, to find order on the other side. Now, if this content is touching you in any way, if it is clarifying some part of you, I only ask one thing of you. Subscribe to the channel here. Like this video. This is not just for me. It's because there are a lot of people living in the dark, and maybe this video will reach her because of you. Sharing truth is an act of reciprocity, and you can be that bridge. Coming back. Jordan Peterson doesn't tell you to positivize your thoughts. He invites you to look at what's rotten inside you and fix it, not with guilt, but with responsibility. Because anxiety is not the end. She is the beginning of a journey where you stop running away and start listening to what's screaming inside you. In the next chapter, we'll debunk one of the most dangerous beliefs about anxiety. Stay with me. There's a lie you've been told, and maybe you've believed it for so long that it's become a kind of inside truth. The lie is this: anxiety is weakness. How many times have you heard this, even if it's between the lines? People saying it's just lack of God, that it's just freshness, or worse, that it's your drama. So what do? You try to hide. You try hard to appear normal, to be able to handle it, so as not to worry anyone, to appear strong, while falling apart inside. This belief destroys, because on top of the pain you already feel, it adds guilt, shame, isolation. But let me tell you something as clearly as possible. Anxiety is not weakness. Anxiety is your body reacting to a system that is breaking down. It's a biological alert. It's the mind trying to warn you. Something is wrong here. You don't choose to feel anxiety, just as you don't choose to feel pain when you touch a flame. It's a reflex. It's a cry for help. Weakness is not in feeling, it's in ignoring. And the most curious thing, many of the most intelligent, sensitive, and creative people I know suffer from anxiety because they perceive the world with depth, because they feel more, because they care. But unfortunately, this depth has become a problem. They taught you that feeling is wrong, that showing vulnerability is a sign of defeat, and so you closed yourself off. Peterson talks about this. He says that modern culture has created a distorted ideal of strength, an ideal where being strong is being indifferent. It is not showing emotion. It's about going over your feelings. But this is a superficial force. Real strength is facing what is tearing you apart inside. Real strength is admitting, I'm not okay, and still carrying on. Real strength is asking for help. So the belief break that I propose to you here is this. You are not weak for feeling anxiety. You are human. You are waking up. The real problem is not feeling. It's not knowing what to do with what you feel. And that is something that can be learned. With time, with clarity, with support. The belief that anxiety is nonsense keeps millions of people silent, make them suffer alone. It makes them delay seeking treatment. It makes them carry a burden they didn't need to carry. But you are here. You are searching. You are questioning these lies. And that, in itself, is already liberating. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this chapter, it's this. Feeling doesn't make you weak. Feeling makes you alive. And living truthfully requires courage. Courage to deconstruct everything you were told and build something new. In the next chapter, we will start making this movement. Let's dive deeper into inner listening, in that silent part you've been ignoring, but that holds all the answers you seek. Stay here with me. The real journey is just beginning. There comes a time when the noise outside becomes so unbearable that the only way out is to look inside. Have you ever tried to run away from anxiety? You tried to drown it out with distractions, with excessive productivity, with social media, with 1,000 daily tasks, but none of that solved it. And that's when you realize, maybe what I'm avoiding is exactly what I need to hear. Anxiety most of the time is a reflection of something inside you that has been silenced for too long. An unlived desire, an ignored truth, an inner voice that you learned to silence to please, to survive, to fit in. But now, you feel like you can't do it anymore. That ignoring this has cost you your peace, your health, your sanity. And then the question begins, who am I really behind the anxiety? Jordan Peterson talks a lot about this point. He says that the journey of self-knowledge does not begin with great answers, but with sincere questions. And one of the most powerful is, what in my life is out of alignment with who I really am? Have you ever asked yourself this question honestly? Because the truth is, most people live on autopilot. They work at what they don't love. They interact with people they don't respect. They make choices to please others. They follow paths they did not choose. And anxiety begins to scream, this isn't you. But how can you hear this? In a world that taught you to silence your essence. That's the challenge. Listen to what is behind the symptom. Stop treating just the effect and start getting to the root. And the root often is in self-abandonment. You stopped listening to yourself, trusting your body, to respect your limits, to say no when I wanted to, choosing what is good for you. And now, the body demands it. The mind cries out. The soul cries out. But let me tell you something. It is possible to reconnect. Not overnight. Not with a magic formula. But with presence. Truly. With listening. You need to relearn how to listen to what you feel. Naming your emotions. Stop judging yourself. And start embracing yourself. This sounds simple, but it is revolutionary. Because as long as you keep looking outside for what you can only find inside, anxiety will continue to be there, knocking on the door. She doesn't want to destroy you. She wants to reunite you with yourself. Peterson argues that the first step to creating inner order is to accept that chaos exists, and that courage is not the absence of fear. It is action, even when fear is present. So take a deep breath now. Look inside. Close your eyes if you can, and ask yourself, what am I ignoring in myself? The answer may not come now, but just the fact that you ask changes everything. You've gone off autopilot. You broke the cycle. You are coming home, and I want you to continue on this journey. Because in the next chapter, you're going to face something even more profound. In the shade, the part of you that you tried to hide, but it needs to be integrated. Let's go together. There is a part of you that you have been avoiding looking at. A dark part full of fears, insecurities, hidden anger, and repressed desires. Jordan Peterson calls this shadow, and it is there, inside you, waiting to be recognized. The shadow is not evil in itself. She is the side you repressed to survive, to be accepted, to make it. But ignoring that shadow doesn't make it go away. It just makes her grow in the shadows, accumulating weight. Peterson teaches that to overcome anxiety, you need to do something that seems scary. Look within, face your shadow, and embrace what you find there. This means facing the parts of yourself that you might not like, the anger you suppressed because it was not socially acceptable, the deep sadness you hid so as not to appear weak, the fear of failure that paralyzes you, even the desires you've suppressed out of shame or guilt. This confrontation is not a punishment, it's an opportunity. When you accept your shadow, you begin to become whole, because you can't be fulfilled by pretending that there is only light. Anxiety often arises from internal fragmentation, the conflict between who you really are, with all your imperfections, and who you try to show the world. This struggle creates a void, a noise that manifests itself in anxiety. So instead of fighting this part of yourself, Peterson suggests, be her friend. Look at her with curiosity, not judgment, and ask, what do you want to show me? Why are you here? When you begin to understand your shadow, it loses power. She stops being a scary monster and becomes a legitimate part of you, a part that can teach you a lot about your pain, your limits, and your strengths. This process requires courage, because no one wants to look at what hurts. But the alternative is to continue living on the surface, always running away from yourself. And running away never solved anything. Peterson says the true path to freedom is through inner chaos, and only those who have the courage to face the shadow can escape the labyrinth of anxiety. I want you to take a deep breath now. Feel the body, feel the tension. Recognize that this is part of the process. You are not alone. Many have been where you are now, scared, confused, tired, but they made the choice to face their shadows, and today they live with more lightness. If this point is touching something inside you, do one simple thing. Leave a like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear this. The power of transformation lies in connection. In the next chapter, I'll give you a metaphor that will help you visualize this journey, because the mind needs images to understand what the heart already feels. Stay with me. Imagine you are in the middle of the ocean, in a small boat. The sky is overcast. Dark clouds gather on the horizon. The wind blows hard. The waves grow, rocking the boat, threatening to capsize everything. You try to hold the helm steady. Your whole body is tense, trying to control what seems impossible to control. Every gust of wind is a threat. Every wave that breaks against the hull of the boat makes your heart race. You want to get to a safe place, but the sea does not obey. He challenges. He tests. This sea is your anxiety. She seems like a relentless enemy, a hurricane that will knock you down. But look, the force of the sea is not against you. She is a part of nature. You can't fight the sea and expect to win. You need to learn to navigate it. This storm is not just destruction. It is also a calling, an invitation for you to learn the art of navigation. Because deep down, what anxiety wants, without knowing it, is for you to find balance. May you learn to deal with chaos, instead of running away from it. May you understand that the storm inside you is as real as the world outside. Many try to row against the wind, trying to control everything, silencing fear, silencing the heart. But this only increases the effort. It just makes the boat more unstable. The key is to accept the storm. Feel the wind on your face. Let the waves rock the boat, without panic, and use that energy to adjust the sails. Anxiety then becomes an ally, not an enemy. It keeps you alert, It helps you see the danger. It invites you to prepare for what lies ahead. This does not mean that the storm will always be easy. She can be scary. She might knock you down sometimes, but with practice, you learn to get up. Let's keep rowing, finding your way to calmer waters. And this journey is unique. Only you can sail your boat. Only you can discover the rhythm of your sails. This metaphor is not just to explain anxiety. It's to remind you that you are not lost. You are browsing. What about the storm? It is not a punishment. It's an invitation to grow. Now close your eyes for a moment. Feel the wind, the waves, the boat rocking. Feel the fear, but also the strength within you that keeps you going. That force is there. It always has been. In the next chapter, we will enter the turning point, the point where the storm begins to calm, not because it's gone, but because you've learned to navigate. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in an endless loop? That anxiety dominates you, paralyzes you, suffocates you, and that there is no way out? I know. I've been there, in that dark place where it seems like everything is lost. But there is a moment, an instant that changes everything, a turning point. It's not a grand moment, full of applause, not even a magical revelation that falls from the sky. It's something silent, almost invisible, an internal decision. It's when you stop fighting yourself, when you accept the pain without running away, when for the first time he says, "I will not let anxiety control my life." This moment is a rebirth. It is the courage to look within and say, I can do it, I deserve it. And no, it's not easy. It's not fast, but it's real. When you decide to face anxiety, everything starts to change. Chaotic thoughts begin to lose strength. Fear loses its grip. You start to feel alive again. This change does not happen because the world has changed. The storm continues outside, but something inside you has changed. You have become the navigator of your boat, no longer a victim of the waves. You find a new rhythm, a rhythm that gives you control. And with that control comes freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom to act, freedom to be. Jordan Peterson says true transformation requires accountability, responsibility to take care of yourself, to create order in your chaos, to be the hero of your own story. And this responsibility, although heavy, is also liberating. Because when you take control, you stop being a spectator of your life. You become the protagonist. And this change is profound. It touches every area of your existence. Your work, your relationships, your health, your purpose. This turning point doesn't eliminate anxiety, but it changes your relationship with it. She stops being an enemy, and it becomes a warning, a sign that you are on the right path. And most importantly, you discover that the strength you needed was within you all along, not in ready-made formulas, not even in external solutions, but in the simple act of continuing, to persist, to believe in yourself. Now take a deep breath. Feel this energy, this power that comes from the decision not to give up. The journey is long, I know, but this moment is your real beginning. I want to be clear with you. There is no miracle cure for anxiety. There is no button you press and suddenly everything disappears. Life doesn't work like that. What exists, and this is what I promise you, is a real transformation, a profound change that happens when you choose to walk courageously, one step at a time. This transformation is not quick. It is gradual, made of small movements, of moments when you choose to face your fear, even if you're shaking inside, of days when you allow yourself to rest, without guilt, of nights when you practice patience with yourself. Peterson says that real change begins when you take responsibility for your life, not as a heavy charge, but as an act of self-love. When you start creating order out of chaos, anxiety loses ground. It doesn't magically disappear, but you learn to live with it, listening to it, without fear, understanding that it is just a part of your experience, not the whole. I know this may seem like little, but believe me, it's enough to start living differently. You will realize that you are no longer trapped. That can take bold steps. That you can say no when something doesn't suit you. That you can seek what makes your heart vibrate. This transformation is realistic because it respects your time. She understands that the process is unique for each person, and what works for one may not work for another. Therefore, more than ready-made techniques, I invite you to seek the truth that is within you, the one who doesn't shut up, even when everything tries to suffocate her. Is the path difficult? Yes, but it is possible, and you don't have to go it alone. With each step, you build a solid foundation, a foundation that supports you when the waves rise again, a foundation that reminds you of who you are, beyond fear, beyond anxiety. It's not a fairy tale. It's a journey of courage, of acceptance, of transformation. And the best part, this journey is worth it. You will discover strengths you didn't even know you had. You will be surprised by your own resilience. You will realize that living with anxiety does not mean giving up on happiness. It actually means learning to be human, with all its imperfections, with all its beauty. So, if you're ready to begin this transformation, I invite you to take the next step. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be true. Before I close, I want to leave you with something powerful. A quote from Jordan Peterson that for many was a turning point. It is not empty advice. It's a raw, direct truth that hits deep. He says, "It's not security you need, it's meaning." Think about it. All your life, you have sought security. Seeking security is natural. We want to feel protected, stable, free from fear. But anxiety arises precisely because absolute security does not exist. The world is uncertain. The future is unknown. And trying to control everything to feel safe is an illusion. Peterson invites us to shift focus. Instead of seeking security, seek meaning. Look for something that makes sense to you, that makes your heart sing, even if it brings risks, uncertainties, and challenges, because it is in meaning that we find strength. It is He who sustains courage. It is He who makes fear lose its power, and anxiety, when understood in this way, ceases to be an enemy. It becomes a sign that you are getting closer to what really matters, that you are growing up. This phrase is an invitation for you to step out of your comfort zone. May you stop seeking guarantees that the world cannot offer, and may you enter the territory of the unknown, where life really happens. I know this might sound scary, but it is also liberating, because you stop being a hostage to fear and become the protagonist of your story. When you live with meaning, anxiety may still exist, but it no longer dominates. You find a greater purpose, a sense that is worth it. And that's what Jordan Peterson calls living responsibly. Not a responsibility imposed from outside, but a responsibility that comes from within, to take your place in the world, with everything you are. So when anxiety comes, remember this phrase. When fear tightens your chest, remember this invitation. It's not about eliminating fear. It's about finding something bigger than himself. You are stronger than you think, and your path is one of courage, meaning, and transformation. Before I finish, I want to speak to you directly, not as a stranger, but as someone who understands the pain you carry, as someone who has been in that dark place where anxiety feels like an unbeatable enemy. I needed to share this with you, because no one told me this when I was at rock bottom, and I don't want you to go through the same silence. You are not alone. Never was. Even when it seems like the world has turned its back, even when the voice inside your head screams that no one understands. We who live this internal battle are a tribe, a collective of people who, despite fear, choose to continue. That, even when they fall, they get up. That, even tired, they take a deep breath and carry on. And I invite you to be a part of it, adding your voice to ours. Because healing begins with connection. In the act of saying, I am here, I choose to face my shadow. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You just have to be honest. Right here in the comments, I choose to face my shadow. This is more than a sentence. It's a pact with yourself, a true commitment. And when you share this, you are helping not only yourself, but everyone who also needs this word of encouragement. Because the light you light within yourself can light other lights on someone else's path. And if you feel that this content makes sense, I ask that you leave your like and subscribe to the channel. This way, we create a support network, a community that grows every day. We are stronger together, braver together, more alive together. Anxiety is not the end of your story. It could be the beginning of a new phase, a phase where you take control of your life, where you learn to navigate the storm, instead of drowning in it. I believe in you. I believe in your strength. I believe in your potential to transform yourself. So, take a deep breath, feel this energy that is inside you, and take the first step, which could be just a word, a choice, a simple act. We are here side by side on the same journey, and together we go further. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting. And until the next step,